Your Weather Authority forecast first, brought to you by Todd Shore's McClarty Ford.
And good evening. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend of a hot afternoon here. And to all the architects, right now we're seeing a temperature of 84 degrees with clear skies. Winds are light out of the east at 5 miles an hour. And temperatures over the next couple of hours will begin to cool down to the 70s by tomorrow morning. That's a quick look at your Todd Shore's McClarty Ford forecast first. And the news starts
now. From your community, local news that matters. This is NBC 6 News at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jenna Jordan. Alex has the night off. In tonight's top story, the police say a Natchitoches Police Department is investigating an afternoon shooting. It happened around 4 today on the 300 block of Pearl Street. When officers arrived on the scene, they found 33-year-old Daniel James Boudion with a gunshot wound. The incident is under investigation as a homicide. Police say a Shreveport juvenile is in custody tonight after allegedly shooting his stepfather. Shreveport police responded to reports of a shooting in the 9200 block of Scotch Pine Drive for what they initially thought was a self-inflicted gunshot wound just after 10 this morning. Upon investigating, police learned the victim and his stepson had been in an argument and the juvenile fired the gun. The victim was transported to the hospital for treatment. 2 women are dead following a fiery crash Saturday night in southeast Shreveport. Police say 52-year-old Latanya Sibley was driving south on Uri Drive and was speeding when she veered into the northbound lane, hitting 31-year-old Courtney Richardson's vehicle head-on. Richardson died at the scene of the accident. Sibley died at the hospital. The crash remains under investigation and toxicology tests have been ordered. Little Rock police are investigating a shooting-turned-murder outside a gas station. Officers spent hours at the scene on the city's south side. You can see evidence tags marking a garage door and just a few steps away, a car where the window was shot out. At this point, police are still trying to figure out who pulled the trigger, killing a young father and injuring another man. Meanwhile, a local pastor's family of 6 is safe tonight after escaping a massive house fire early this morning. NBC 6's Dominique Dillon has their story.
At 3 Sunday morning, Tammy Smith woke up to the smell of smoke in her house.
I searched the whole house, see where the smoke was coming from. Couldn't find it on the inside of the house.
Smith says her doorbell mysteriously rang, and when she opened the door, she saw the flames.
I went and got all my kids up out the beds, and we tried to get them out the house, and we moved across the street.
Once Smith, her husband, and 4 kids evacuated, they called 911, but a police officer already had seen the flames and firefighters were on their way.
You can actually see the flames in the top of the house through the air vent.
More than 30 firefighters worked for an hour to put out the flames.
We stood across the street and just watched them work tirelessly.
2 firefighters were injured and taken to a local hospital.
My thoughts and prayers are with the 2 firemen that were injured trying to save our home, and we appreciate them risking their lives.
The home is destroyed and the family says they plan to stay with relatives. Dominique Dillon reporting.
The Smiths say they were told the fire started in the attic. The official cause is still under investigation. Safety matters and a burn ban continues in Bossier Parish tonight. Parish fire chiefs say the ban is due to recent fires, lack of rainfall, and months of extreme heat. The burn ban will be lifted once enough rainfall relieves dry conditions in the area. In U.S. politics, the number of Americans living in poverty has finally decreased to the level it was before the Great Recession of 2008. That's the word from the annual Census Poverty Report, but the South is the only region to not see a decline in poverty. Jesse Tenor reports.
thing that moves more people into poverty is medical expenses.
Jane Adams is a policy analyst for Bread for the World.
Last year it moved 8 million people into poverty.
Adams says that's why many voters and presidential candidates continue to focus on health care.
What they want is access to health care.
I think the Obamacare worked,
providing health care to every man, woman, and child.
Adams says the newly released annual Census Poverty Report shows the overall poverty rate has dropped to the levels before the 2008 recession. But the report also shows the first decline in health insurance since the passage of the Affordable Care Act. The hardest hit area is the South, where the poverty rate is also the highest and getting worse, not better.
When you don't have access to affordable health care and when you don't have access to, good doctors and good health insurance, you are more likely to be food insecure, you're more likely to really struggle to make ends meet.
The report shows millions of Americans lost access to Medicaid, not private insurance.
These are people who are really vulnerable, who have complex medical disorders or very, very poor children.
To get coverage levels back on track, Adams says many of these states need to be more proactive in the insurance enrollment process and expand Medicaid. Mississippi has one of the highest uninsured rates in the country. It's also one of 14 states that has not expanded Medicaid. But it continues to be a hot topic in this year's gubernatorial race. In Washington, Jesse Tenor.
Education matters, and dozens of parents are learning some ways to help their students succeed. The Caddo Parish School Board hosted a back-to-school celebration Saturday. This event allowed parents to connect with educational, community, and medical agencies. During the event, they also raffled off several prizes.
It's so important because we're trying to educate parents in order to help to educate their children so we can have a better community.
The group's next event will focus on preparing students for LEAP, a state test. That event is scheduled for October 5th. Community matters, and organizers for an annual festival are preparing to make more musical memories. Thousands of folks filled Columbia Park Saturday for the 16th annual Highland Jazz and Blues Festival. Musicians from Northwest Louisiana and across the country performed on 2 stages, filling the air with non-stop music. But the community event is about more than the music. There were also dozens of food and art vendors on site and a kids zone.
Of jazz. I love blues. That's my thing. I just love it. We just came out to be with family, enjoy the atmosphere, and get some good food.
Organizers say this free music festival is a gift to the community from the Highland Area Partnership. All proceeds will go toward next year's event. In your national headlines, the union representing more than 46,000 General Motors workers announced today it will go on strike. The existing collective bargaining agreement expired Saturday, and negotiations for a new deal broke down. This will be the first national strike by the union in 12 years. NBC's Dan Scheneman reports.
The United Auto Workers Union announced its members at General Motors plants will be off the production line and on the picket line.
We will inform General Motors that our membership has opted to go on strike this evening.
Union leaders and the company have been locked in talks over a new contract since July. The often contentious negotiations broke down, and plant-level leaders voted unanimously to strike.
We are standing up for fair wages. We are standing up for affordable, quality health care. We are standing up for our share of the profits.
GM says it's offered more than $7 billion in investments, promised to create 5,400 new jobs, and insists it offered best-in-class wages and benefits. However, UAW leaders argue workers helped save the company when it filed for bankruptcy protection in 2009, and now want that loyalty to be reciprocated.
They stood up for that company, and now they want that company to stand up for them at the table.
The strike will begin at 1 minute before midnight. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
Well, coming up, hundreds of people are being evacuated in California as flames from a large brush fire inch closer to homes. We'll have the latest from the crews currently on the scene working to battle the blaze. Plus, our local forecast. Jesse?
Well, Jenna, today was a very hot afternoon in Texarkana. You saw a daytime high of 97 degrees after a morning low into the lower 70s. We'll talk about the latest heat forecast after the break.
Wow, take a look at this video. Fire crews are busy battling a brush fire in Riverside County, California. Officials say the 100-acre fire erupted Saturday and has forced more than 200 residents to evacuate the area. Those flames you see here are inching toward a nearby subdivision. More than 200 firefighters are on the scene trying to put out the fire, which is currently 0% contained.
It's grown to 100 acres so far. We have well over 235 firefighters on the scene battling this fire. It's threatened the Cove subdivision here in the city of San Jacinto, so mandatory evacuations were in order. As you can see, the fire is coming down towards subdivision, threatening.
So far, thankfully, no injuries have been reported.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Jesse Kelly, certified the most accurate forecast in the Arklatex.
Jesse, we have a lot of burn bans in our area right now.
Yes, indeed. I know yesterday firefighters out in Bossier Parish, was battling a grass fire, which is why they even enacted their burn ban, It's been simply very dry throughout the region, and unfortunately, we're not expecting any significant rains here, at least for the next 7 days, so that's not good news when it comes to drought here into the Arklatex. But one thing that remains consistent are these warm temperatures. This evening, we're seeing temperatures into the 70s and 80s, 83 degrees here in Shreveport, 80 degrees right now to Minden, 70s elsewhere, 77 degrees currently into Center. Radar this evening is very quiet, at least here throughout all the Arklatex. Now, we did see a few showers and thunderstorms this evening, but those are now long gone as we have this ridge of high pressure in place, which is not allowing us to see much of rain. Although down towards the south, we do have an upper level low pressure into the Gulf of Mexico. That's working its way off towards the west. We may see some moisture from this area of low pressure working its way into the region by the mid part of next week, which could lead to a slightly better chance of rain and thunderstorms. But until this ridge of high pressure breaks down, we'll continue to see plenty of heat and not that much of rain. Now, we're also looking at Hurricane Umberto. Winds of 75 miles an hour, Category 1 storm, is now working its way off towards the northeast at 3, so continue to work its way away from the United States, although we could see some impacts possibly towards Bermuda as it works its way off towards the north and east. Hopefully it doesn't affect the island. It will strengthen to a Category 2 storm over the next couple of days, but again, that is moving away from the United States. But again, we're still looking at moderate to even severe drought here into the Arklatex, and again, we haven't seen much rain recently, at least not significant rain recently. So until we see some significant rainfall amounts out there, won't be surprised by next Thursday. May see even more spots of moderate to even severe drought show up here into the Arklatex. That's why we do have the burn bans in place throughout different parishes and also different counties here throughout the Arklatex. And if you see your parish or county in the red, you know that you cannot do any burning since you're underneath that burn ban. So we're on to the forecast shows. Again, a very quiet evening for tonight. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, look at another hot afternoon. We'll call it partly cloudy skies, although we could see an isolated shower or two here or there. But most of us should remain rain-free with temperatures tomorrow back up into the upper 90s. And the thunderstorms that do develop for Monday should fall apart as soon as we lose daytime heating. And then we'll see more heat for your Tuesday. Again, still a small chance to see an isolated shower or thunderstorm chance here or there. Now, if we do see any rain for Tuesday, I think the slightly better chance to be probably across the southern edge of the Arklatex for your Tuesday. But again, rain chances are pretty low for the next 7 days. So again, until the ridge of high pressure breaks down, we'll continue to see lots of heat and not that much of rain. But again, by Wednesday and Thursday, we may see a slightly better chance of seeing a few thunderstorms on the sea breeze. But again, the overall pattern still showed this big ridge of high pressure. But as we get into the weekend, though, the ridge of high pressure may break down, which may allow for the disturbance to work its way into the region, which could bring us some rain chances by next weekend if that verifies. So if that does, we may see a slightly better chance of seeing a few thunderstorms come next Sunday, especially across the northern half of the Arklatex. But rainfall amounts between now into next Sunday. Some of us not seeing that much of rain, but other spots, especially if the ridge of high pressure breaks down, may see about an inch of rain possibly across the northern edge of the Arklatex, especially by next Sunday. Tomorrow, though, lots of heat into the forecast. 99 degrees here in Shreveport, 100 degrees down towards Natchitoches, and 98 degrees into Mount Pleasant. Next 7 days shows plenty of heat, and again, not that much of rain. Although next weekend, if the ridge of high pressure breaks down, we may see some slightly better rain chances than what you're seeing right now. But again, before we get there, lots of heat, not that much of rain. That will continue to be the theme here to the Arklatex for the next couple of days.
More 100 degrees.
Summer just doesn't want to go away anytime soon.
Apparently not. All right. Thanks, Jesse. Well, still ahead, police officers are called upon to serve and protect the community. But coming up, the heartwarming story of one officer who goes above and beyond the call of duty.
You're watching NBC 6 News at 10.
Welcome back. Caught on camera, a social media post catches a police officer sharing an unexpected act of kindness. Kimberly Craig shares the heartwarming moment between a Detroit officer and a homeless man.
And I observed him standing on Witherell and Elizabeth over here trying to use a water puddle to rinse his razor off, and he had shaving cream on his hands, his coat, his face, and his eyes. So I had walked up and I said, "Excuse me, sir." And at that point he's like, "Okay, I'll leave. And I said, "No, do you need some help?" And he turned around blindly and said, "Yes, thank you, God bless."
Jeremy Thomas is the Detroit police officer in the heartwarming pictures Jill Mativa Schaefer took and shared on Facebook. Officer Thomas had no idea anyone was watching when he helped the man shave. The razor and shaving cream part of a handout for the homeless that a woman and her daughter had just given the man, a man Officer Thomas has seen around the ballpark.
Another Comerica Park staff member said, he's trying to shave in the rain. He's trying to use the downspout to rinse his face off.
What he did for me, that was all right. I really appreciate that. Because, I'm going through my thing, and I feel bad about myself, but I'm going to be all right.
We found 62-year-old Stanley Nelson sitting a couple of blocks away from the ballpark.
God going to bless him. He going to bless him for doing that for me. Because he ain't had to do that. he got a heart, you know, and he understand when you out here on the street, you know, look out for somebody, because God will look out for you.
And helping others is why Officer Thomas joined DPD 3 years ago.
Just know that this could be you at any day. I mean, like I said, nobody's better than the other person. Maybe at a better position in life, but use that opportunity to, you know, take care of somebody else when you can.
Well, coming up, the Northwestern State Demons took away a lot of positives in their loss to LSU. Plus, NFL football did not disappoint in Week 2 of the season. Saints and Cowboys action is up next.
Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yeah, so Fridays.
And now from the Holmes Auto Family Sports Desk. Sports with Jory Perez.
Dak Prescott created all sorts of conversation after his perfect passer rating performance in Week 1 against the Giants, and the 2019 Kellen Moore-led offense was yet again on full display this afternoon. The Cowboys taking on their division rivals in Case Keenum, and the Redskins pick this up in the second quarter. Redskins leading 7-0, but can we start calling this man can throw deep Dak Prescott, sending one on its way to Devin Smith, 51 yards on the score. That tied this game up at 7. Moving ahead, Prescott this time going to Jason Witten, and he gets his 70th career touchdown right there. That made it 14-7 Cowboys. Third quarter, Dak again, this time finding Amari Cooper for the 10-yard touchdown that extended their lead 21-7. The former Houghton Buck went 26-30 for 269 yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. Cowboys advanced to 2-0 on their season, taking this one 31-21, and next week they take on Miami in Dallas at noon. Well, the much-awaited rematch of last year's NFC Championship game is the New Orleans Saints take on the Rams in Los Angeles. First quarter here, 3-0 Rams. Breeze going back to pass. The throw's incomplete, but the bigger concern here is Breeze's right hand, specifically his thumb. He hits it on the hand of Aaron Donald. Breeze had it looked at, taped up, but he did not return to the game. So Teddy Bridgewater now at quarterback for the Saints on the 3rd and 7 here. Bridgewater finding Cook. He picks up 18 yards, which led to a Saints field goal, and that tied this game up at 3. Third quarter now tied at 6. Todd Gurley going around the left end and gets in for the 4-yard touchdown. That made it 13-6 Rams, and they go on to win this one, 27-9, the final. One bright spot for the day on the Saints, though, is head coach Sean Payton agreeing to a 5-year extension worth in excess over $45 million. That locks him in as the head man of the black and gold through the 2024 season. Payton has easily become a beloved figure in New Orleans, garnering 119 wins since 2006, which included the franchise's first ever Super Bowl title in 2009. Payton and the Saints will play Seattle next week on the road at 325. Yesterday, the LSU Tigers covered the spread against Northwestern State, but despite the 65-14 final, it was a 10-point game at the half. The Demons held the Tigers to a field goal on their opening drive, took a 7-3 lead off of a connection from Shelton Epler to Quan Shorts, and showed good flashes on both sides of the ball early on. Although it was a different story in the second half as MSU only accumulated 78 yards. But coming off of that loss to Midwestern State, Coach Laird says the team took a step forward this week, and their success will all start in preparation.
The message that I gave them on Sunday and Tuesday, and that transitioning not only during the week, but to this football game. Now the most important thing is taking that into next week. And the great thing about it as we start conference 0-0, really looking forward to it going on the road against Houston Baptist.
As Coach said, the Demons opening conference play this Saturday as they head to Houston to take on the Huskies. Kickoff for that game is set for 6 o'clock. That's going to do it for sports. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're watching NBC 6 News at 10.
Welcome back. Here's a live look from our Louisiana tower cam. Beautiful night out there. And here's another heartwarming story, a special backstage pass for some Backstreet Boys fans. Some students with Down syndrome got to meet the boy band before their concert in Louisville, Kentucky. A video of the students lip-syncing to the pop group's hit, I Want It That Way, was posted on social media. It caught the band's attention. The students ranging in ages from 18 to 40 were invited to enjoy a VIP concert experience. One of the Backstreet Boys described the group's video as inspiring. That's pretty cool.
That's definitely pretty cool. Were you jamming out to that song earlier?
Yeah, we were.
Well, you know, a lot of people, want some cooler temperatures around here.
That's true.
That's not in this forecast at all. We're going to see plenty of heat, temperatures to the middle to even the upper 90s, lows to the 70s. Not seeing that much of rain, although by next weekend, if the ridge of high pressure can break down, we may see some slightly better rain chances by next weekend to early parts of next week. Hopefully that verifies because we need some rain around here.
All right, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesse, and thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.
NBC 6 News is now on Alexa. Now you have local news that matters at the sound of your voice.